All right, so we will also, it is recording now, and it will be on Facebook. So we're gonna try to get it on Facebook Live. So if it'll be posted there as well right now live while we're doing it on the commercial drivers page. So we want you guys all to know that as well. So everybody will be able to get it or get the recording. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up with a quick introduction for myself. Robert Dunbar, a CDLP certification trainer, 100K ring earner.
Go get daddy
I'm
phone.
really excited about being able to do this for you guys annually and really get you guys plugged in into pulling calls a specific kind of way. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn the call over to the ladies, Sherranda and Catherine, and then Lamar introduce herself.
Okay, hi everybody. I'm Kathy Pouliot. I have a business, safety transportation business I've had for 18 years, and I've been doing transportation safety for over 40 years. I'm also a LegalShield independent associate for the last 5. So I'm going to be introducing you to some of the exemptions that are out there right now, the emergency declarations, and showing you how to look for companies that are hauling that kind of stuff. So that's go ahead, Sherranda, introduce yourself.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sherranda Ivey. I'm the newest CDLP trainer here at LegalShield. I'm out of Byron, Georgia. Been in the business for 7 years now. I don't know. Just glad to be here. This is an awesome training. I am going to turn that over to Lamar Reynolds. I got it.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
So.
All right, but this is Lamar Reynolds out of Houston, Texas. Great honor to be on the webinar this evening. I've been with LegalShield in June, will be 14 years, and I've been a CDLP trainer for 9 years now, coming up in June. And I've been selling the CDLP membership for 11 years now, and you're going to find out tonight how I did that. And opening over 100 different trucking companies, which earned me the 50,000K ring and the 100,000K ring. So it's just a great honor to be on this call tonight. We're going to share some great information for everybody, some great nuggets and takeaways this evening. Back over to you, Robert.
Okay, so real quick joke before I turn it over to Catherine. So for those that don't know, I got a text message today from a, I ain't gonna put him out there. I ain't gonna put you out there, my man. He sent me a text and said, I need to speak to you. And I said, okay. I said, give me a minute. I called him and he said, hey man, I see that flyer on the commercial driver's Facebook page. I said, yeah, we got the training going on tonight. He said, who's the white guy in the left-hand corner? I said, that's Lamar Reynolds. He said, I thought Lamar was black. I said, I'm telling him right away. So Lamar Reynolds, somebody thought you was black, man. Just so you know. That's what's happening. So I guess Lamar.
That's okay, brother.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, man. So we excited to work with you guys today. So again, Kathy Pouliot is a safety manager as well as being an independent associate with LegalShield. So I'm gonna turn it over to her, and she's gonna talk to you guys about a couple of different things. So please be prepared to take some notes because there's some really good information. So remember, like anything else, when it comes to group service and things like that, this is synonymous to having a webinar about group and prospecting companies and an HR rep talking to you about what they need to see to let you in. That's what that is with Kathy talking to you. She's basically a safety manager saying, this is what you should be doing as a LegalShield associate. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to you, Kathy.
Hi there, everybody. Well, thank you, Robert, for having me on. I do appreciate it. And I do like to help everybody that I can with the information that I get from the Department of Transportation and what's important to the decision makers or the safety managers out there. I actually am kind of like the safety director for about 35 to 40 different companies. And right now everybody's going through a lot of adjustments. I personally have 4 or 5 companies that are just shut down because of the COVID-19. The Department of and so I'm going to give you some information about what the Department of Transportation has done to relieve some of the regulations And I've got this information out to a lot of trucking companies, and a lot of them don't know that. When the Department of Transportation puts out a declaration like this, they don't send a memo. So there's a lot of companies out there that don't know about it, don't understand it. This is a really good tool for you to go back and to do some servicing with your safety directors, and also when you're starting to introduce LegalShield to some of the safety directors. Some of the guidelines that they're doing, they have been declared an emergency declaration. And the first one I'm going to talk about is the hours of service. If you know anything about the transportation industry, this is their logbook. They are under certain regulations. They can only drive 14-hour or be on duty 14 hours a day and do an 11-hour driving period without taking a 10-hour break. And one of the things that they're doing is they are exempting carriers who are hauling relief effort materials from the hours of service, which basically means that if it takes them 15 hours to get from point A to point B, if they have some of the, if they're hauling for their relief, that they don't have to worry about going over the hours of service. This helps them. They can't get wrote up for it. They can't get fined for it. And once they get there, they have to take a 10-hour break. But in some of the items that they can haul. And what I've been doing is I've been trying to transition some of my carriers who have the ability to switch from doing one commodity that they've been doing, and they can no longer do that, to try to get some of this freight. And that's another reason why you need to know about this, because you can actually direct them. Okay, go look for some food. Some of the commodities are medical supplies and equipment relating to testing, diagnostic, and treatment of COVID-19. Supplies and equipment necessary for community safety, sanitation, and prevention of community transmitted COVID-19, such as masks, gloves, hand sanitizers, soap, and disinfectants. These are things that they can haul, and they have relief from the regulations. Food, paper products, and other groceries for emergency restocking of distribution centers or stores. Immediate raw materials that is used in producing such things as paper, plastic, alcohol, that used to be manufacture these essential items. I actually had a carrier that hauls salt, because they need salt to make chlorine. And yes, that's a raw material, and that is also under the relief fuel. Fuel as in, diesel fuel. Equipment, supplies, and persons necessary to establish and maintain temporary housing, quarantine, and persons designated by the federal, state, or local authorities for medical, isolation, or quarantine purposes, and also providing medical emergency services. These are all, any company that's doing any of these are going to have relief from the regulations of the hours of service. Now, I do have a paper. I'm not expecting you to write all this down. I'm going to download this sheet of paper for you. But that's under the regulations. And a lot of companies don't understand. I mean, and I'll talk to you about drivers in a minute, because I have some drivers on electronic logs that are trying to log personal conveyance. And no, that's not they can't just go log personal conveyance. That's still a false log. But those are the guidelines for hours of service. Some of the other emergency declarations are random drug testing. They are not relieved of doing random drug testing, but today the facilities aren't open, or they can't get to them in a timely fashion, or they're just closed. They're only doing essential testing right now. They're not doing drug and alcohol testing. So that they have relieved the regulation that right now, if like the first quarter just got over yesterday, and I had several companies that couldn't get all their randoms done, and the Federal Motor Carriers is relieving that, and they will have a whole year to catch those up. So once this COVID-19 is over, they'll still have to test those drivers, but they won't have to test them under the random. They'll have the whole rest of the year to do it. So as long as their 50% is met by the end of the year, they're going to be okay. That does not clear them. They still have to be run through the clearinghouse, and they still have to have a pre-employment negative drug test to start driving. but that just is a little relief in the regulations. CDL and MedCard expirations. A lot of places are closed. They're not giving out a medical, and if you can get a medical, the DMV is usually closed because they have to connect their medical card to their CDL. They have extended all expiration dates on medical cards and CDLs to June 30th. This could change because things are changing all the time. So, and I personally am providing that service in Florida and Michigan, and in other states. I can actually connect the two online. They have people working at those facilities at the DMVs, which is the Vehicle Driving License Bureau, inside, but nobody can go in. So they are processing those online through fax, through emails. So they can, but if they don't get to do that, they have until June 30th to do that. Now, unfortunately, I'm not sure if the states have caught up with this federal regulations or not. So, because if a medical card is not attached to a driver's CDL, he will lose his CDL. They will take it away and make it just a regular driver's license. So, what I'm saying is, I can personally do it. Helping all the carriers, but they need to understand they probably need to have some of this declaration, which I'm going to send you with them, so in case they're pulled over. Right now, hopefully this helps you, and hopefully, and you're going to get this declaration that I sent to, I don't know, 5,000 carriers. And also I have a document here for the drivers, so the drivers understand. Because I'm going to tell you what, your drivers, as much as you love them, they're going to try to circumvent the rules and fight the rules. So, because that's what they do. Anyway, I'm going to be answering questions in the chat after I get done with mine. But, so I'll be able to answer any questions on that later. And now what I want to do is I want to share the screen. How do you find carriers that are possibly already hauling this stuff? Because if you're going to haul for the government, it takes a year to be approved to haul government stuff. So where can your companies get some of this freight? If they don't, they can go to load boards. I went to 4 or 5 load boards for some of my clients in the last week and a half, and there is freight out there. I know people that are traveling that shouldn't be traveling, but they are, and they said the trucks are moving, the supplies are being moved, so somebody is getting some of the freight. The backdraw to this is it's not paying very much, but right now what companies need to worry about is just staying in business and cutting their, and making sure that they can have their expenses covered. They're not going to make a lot of money on this. It's not like a hurricane, but there are places they can go. Directload.com is one of the places that I saw. That's a free site that they can go to. And I think that there was 10 pages of loads there. So they can do that. But I'm going to show you right now, I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to go through SAFER Web, and I'm going to show you where to look for what companies haul. Lamar's going to go into the violations and stuff like that and looking up companies, but I'm going to show you, okay, there's going to be a click away from there that you can go and actually look up the company and see what they haul. What are they authorized to haul? So I'm going to share my screen, and let me see if you guys can, oh wow, do I have a lot up or what? Right there. Can you guys see that? Robert, Sherranda, can you see the screen?
Yes.
You can see
yes.
it.
All right, okay. This right here is what I call SAFER, and it's safer.fmcsa.dot.gov. If somebody can put that in the chat, that would be great, okay? And when you put that in there, this is what you're gonna get. And I'm gonna show you where you need to go. You need to scroll down to where it says Company Snapshot. This is a search engine that you can do, and you just hit Company Snapshot. Now this is SAFER Web. This is a safer system. This is gonna, and I pulled a DOT number that everybody knows, because it doesn't really matter. I'm pulling JB Hunt, Everybody knows that company. So and you put in the DOT number. Now you can put in the DOT number, you can put the MC number in, or you can put the name in. I happened to get prepared a little bit for this, so I looked up their DOT number, and here it is. So this is their SAFER. And you can see that it's JB Hunt. I've got their name, I've got their phone number there, I got their MC number, I've got how many power units. They have a lot. If I want to know what kind of company it is for hire. That means that they are paid to haul freight. An exempt for hire means they're usually in produce. Okay, then you have private carriers. Your private carriers are going to be your Winn-Dixies, your Publix, people that haul their own stuff. Okay, and I don't, that's not really important. It can be an authorized for hire or it can be a private. Doesn't really matter. You just want to know that, just for your own information, that's the kind of hauler they are. Okay, they are interstate. Interstate means they cross state lines. Intrastate means they only stay in the state where they are licensed in. But this is an interstate carrier. In this section right here, this is where you can see what they haul. They haul a lot of stuff. JB Hunt is probably one of the bigger carriers in the United States. So they have many, many divisions. But I'm not particularly getting into JB Hunt. This picture is for every carrier out in the United States. General freight, some people will just put general freight in. That tells me they advance. That means they can switch over. Okay, you don't want a household goods in this time. That's people moving. Everybody's stopped in place. If you've got a moving company, they're probably not doing a whole lot right now. Metal and steel, probably not doing a whole lot right now because the auto industry has just shut down and they're transforming all of their manufacturing to some of the medical supplies that we need. Motor vehicles, I know some of my motor vehicle carriers are still operating, but what they do is they're on an individual basis. They are moving individual cars from Florida back to wherever they're going. But that is also not one that I would particularly hone in on at this time. But if you see somebody with the motor carrier, motor vehicles, they probably don't have the trailers. Your companies can rent trailers if they want, but these are racks. Drive tow away. Now, drive tow away, usually any towing companies also has what I call a flatbed or a heavy haul division. They possibly could change, but they are considered essential companies. So they're operating. Logs, poles, and beams, really not. Building supplies, really not. Here we go, fresh produce, that's a big one. Right now, fresh produce, that's exempt. It's exempt anyway, but it's not exempt from the hours of service, only during this relief time. Liquid gases, your bleach, your sanitizers could be your liquids. Intermodal containers, I have 2 companies that do intermodal and they're almost dead in the water. These are shipments coming in from other countries and that pretty much is not, it's just not happening. Meat, that's a big one. If they're hauling meat, whether it's hanging meat, whether it's live meat, that's a company that you can do. Garbage and refuse. We're not going to quit garbage. That's also, I believe that was on my list. So that would be a good one. Chemicals could be, I have a company that hauls chemicals out of Dow Chemical, and they're still operating because they make hand sanitizers and sanitizing stuff. Refrigerated foods is a big one. Beverages, paper products is huge. Agriculture, farm supplies, those are also considered relief efforts. Anything that has to do with the list that I gave you or any raw materials will have to do that. But that's where you can look and see if that company that you're thinking about making a phone call to is hauling what your stuff, hauling what, if they're going to be really operation or not. If they're not, you can offer them some advice, give them some information, make friends with them, because people will buy from you. First, they need to know you, get to know you before they need you. Okay. So, and that's where you find out what companies haul and who you can market in that way. Okay, I think, let's see. I got to get back to this. Anyway, other than that, I wanted to share that with you. And from this site, we can go into where Lamar's going to go to SMS results. But I'm going to give this information. I'm going to give you the forms that I used to give to companies and to give to drivers. So I'm going to be answering questions in the chat room here pretty quick. As soon as I'm going to unshare it. No. Stop share. Okay. So now I'm back. So anyway, now I'm going to introduce to you Lamar. I'm going to turn Lamar over. He's going to show you how to find companies.
Okay, well, thank you so much. That was some great information because, you know, during this period of time, we want to know the companies that are actually out there moving the freight. And that was excellent. So once we have identified those, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go back into the SAFER. Let's see here. If I can figure this out, share. And okay. Kathy, can you see that? Okay, all right. So once you have the DOT number and you have this website, and I think Robert is going to post this website information so you can log in and it will take you straight to this screen that you see. And so all you need is the US DOT number. And so I'm going to enter a trucking company, and don't go prospecting this one because it is one of my groups and they have a lot of legal needs, by the way. And once we hit this, it will pull the company up, just like you see Catherine there a while ago. So this is United Vision Logistics based out of Louisiana. You see their DOT number here. You see how many trucks they have, 1,263. And they have 1,196 drivers. So they're still recruiting drivers to bring in to drive trucks. And as you can see, this is like JB Hunt a lot. They're doing a lot of general freight, liquid gas, intermodal, oil field equipment. They haul a lot of that. So you'll see that they do a lot of different loads out there for companies. But as you have this DOT number, one of the first things that we want to look at is the out of service. And you can see under vehicle, the national average is 20.72 and they're at 21.8. So that kind of gives you a little clue right there that they're getting more tickets concerning the vehicle out of service than most companies. And then if you come over here to hazmat, you'll see they're running 8.8 compared to the national average of 4.5. So right here, right off bat, you know that this would be a great prospect to go after. And as you drop down here, you will see the crashes. This company has had 3 fatalities in the last 24 months, which that is a lot. 30 injuries, 38 tows, and let me see if I can minimize this. Okay, with 71 in total. So what I want to do now, we've gone to the SAFER. We took a quick look where it kind of piqued our interest. So now we come back up here to the top where you see SMS results. So we may have a lot of associates on the call here tonight that's never gone into the SAFER to view the violations and the roadside inspections. So many of you have this link that you can go to the SAFER, But now I'm going to take you into the DOT website. And so you click the SMS results. This opens up to the FMCSA and to the CSA page. And now you see the 7 deadly sins here. The DOT can write tickets in each one of these categories. That is the reason they love to pull over commercial vehicles, because it's just a heyday. I've seen roadside inspections that had up to 18 to 20. I think one company, if I remember correctly, had 21 different violations, which may range 2 or 3 of these categories here that they wrote violations in. And so you just scroll down till you see the complete SMS profile. And so if you've not been into this website before, if you'll write this down, you'll always know how to get in there. So we went to the SMS profile first, and then we went to the complete SMS profile. I'm clicking on that. Now that reopens. This time it opens up with the violations. So let's just take a quick look at this company. The last 24 months, they've had 1,875 violations written. Now, over here on the side, you'll see these 7 areas, and the very first one we're looking at is unsafe driving. So what I normally do, I will pick probably 5 to 6 violations that I want to bring to the safety director's attention to let them know if that driver or these drivers were in our program, we could address these violations, these roadside inspections, and fight these violations. So what I want to do, I'm going to look at unsafe driving first. And I'm going to pick some of the things that you could write down. And I'm going to pick 4 of these that I think is really important. And the very first one is the seatbelt, failure to wear a seatbelt. This company has had 8 of those violations, and it carries a severity of 7. So this one violation, and you'll get to see in a few minutes how we calculate the points. So 3 times 7 is 21. That's going to be 21 CSA points that goes into the driver's record and the company's record. And so that would be one that I would select because it's got a high severity and 8 violations. Now you just come down to the third one there, failure to obey the traffic control device. And the reason I chose this one is because it's one of the highest in that category, 19, and it carries a severity of 5. So 3 times 5 is 15. So that's 15 CSA points, but they got hit 19 times, okay? And so this is a moving violation. This would go into the MVR and also the CSA. And so you come down to the speeding. There's like 14 violations there going 6 to 10 over. And I would probably select this 11 to 14 over because the CSA points really jump to this category. And they've had 8 of those, and the severity is 7. And then going 15 or more over the speed limit, they've had 5 of those, and the severity is 10. And a lot of companies will not let you drive with this particular ticket on your record. So those would be the 4 that I would select. So if you're new to this and you've never profiled a company, so what we're doing is profiling the violation. So when you get in front of the safety director, you can point these out. These would be the ones that I would really focus on with the safety director, let them know that we can make a fundamental difference for the driver and for the company. Because as you know, and you know my script, As you know, sir, if it comes off the driver, it comes off the company. And so you come down to the hours of service, and Catherine was just talking on that. And the one that is really bad here for this particular company is this one. You come down to the false report, driver's record of duty status. So a false report, they've had 19 of those with 12 out of service. And anytime there's an out of service, there's 2 penalty points added. And the severity is 7. So each one of these that had an out of service is 7 plus 2 is 9 times 3 is 27 on that one violation. So I would choose this to have a dialogue with the safety director. And then you get down into the vehicle maintenance. There's a lot of low-hanging fruit here. The one that I picked out was the air brakes. And you don't have to go too far. I mean, there's just a lot of violations that this company has got. This right here. And the reason I chose this is because the number is so high. It's 59, the severity is 4, but this is a automatic air brake adjustment. So 59 of those. And then somewhere down here, we got 58 flat tires. Here we go, right here. A tire flat, or they could hear an air leak. Well, there's 58 of those, and looking here, 58 out of service. So they really work them over, and it has a severity of 8. So 8 plus 2 is 10, times 3 is 30 just on the flat tire. So that one there is huge. So that needs to be adjudicated. And it's another one here, 164. Take a look at this, required lamps. So 164 of those with 9 out of service. Now, even though the severity is low, there's a great number of those. So that one, and then I would come down to the hazmat, the HM compliance, and the one that I would pick there is the placard, and they have vehicle not placard as required, and so they had 8 of those, 7 out of service, and it carries a severity of 5. So now we've picked a few of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10, and so you could walk in there with 10, or you could pick the top 5. And so, but what we want to do is drive the point. These are multiple violations is reoccurring, and these need to be adjudicated because these points need to come off the driver and needs to come off the company as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you scroll on down, you will see inspection history. Now, this is the roadside inspections. And out of the last 24 months, they've had 1,790 roadside inspections. And ladies and gentlemen, we don't have to go very far at all. And I've picked 3 roadside inspections that I want to feature. And the very first one, now if you'll look over here under the inspection date, you'll see February the 21st, 2020. Now, even though this one here, this is high, but this is even higher. And so you want to add up all of these points. So you go 1 and 4 is 5 and 5 is 9. And here is that out of service. That's 8 plus 2, anytime there's an out of service. So that's 10, and 9 is 19, and 6 is 25, and 6, and that's 10, that'd be 35 points. 35 times 3 is 105. That's 105 CSA points. Now,
do that again.
A roadside inspection,
Lamar,
you can only, the DOT can only apply 90 points in a roadside inspection. So this driver got the maximum. But I happen to know this company. Anytime a driver exceeds 90 points, they are terminated. So this is a driver that has been terminated. They will terminate this driver. Yes.
Can you hear me? This is Robert Dunbar. Go do that count again for anybody that you were moving too fast for. Count those points up again, like the way you did it with the 3 times multiplier.
Yeah. And so, ladies and gentlemen, you'll see this 3 right here. That tells you now, we have this posted in Facebook, how you calculate the points. So this is the company's record that we're looking at, not the driver, it's the company. But, you know, these points stay on the driver for 3 years, it stays on the company for 2. So this 3 here indicates that's in the first 6 months. So it's really important to adjudicate this ticket and to data queue it and to remove the points in the first 6 months. So we want to go back through these points right here. This is what Robert was just talking about. And before I go and add these up again, I want you to pay close attention to this right here, the flat tire. You see 8 is the severity with 2 penalty points for the OOS. That is out of service. So that's going to be a total of 10. And you see this one down here for the turn signal is 6 points plus 2. So let's just go through here and add these up. 1 and 4 is 5, and 5 is 9, and 10 is 19, and 6 is 25, and 6 plus 2 is going to be 35. So that's 35 points of violation points. So 35 times 3 is equal 105 points, CSA points, that would go into the company's record as well as the driver's record. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's how you calculate the points. You add these up times 3, and that's how many points goes into the company's record and the driver. So, under the FMCSA, you can only assess 90 points in a roadside inspection and 1 stop. So this driver went to the maximum of 90. But the company is really looking at all these other violations. They see that this driver had 105 points. Well, this particular company, United Vision, is a driver exceeds 90 points, he will be terminated. And as you start to get up around 60 and 70, drivers are put on probation. But this particular driver would be terminated. And so you see here is the date of the inspection. You see the ticket number right here. That was in Louisiana. And this is the license plate number. So if you're in front of the safety director and, you know, he's sitting at his computer, you could give this license plate number and he can pull up the person's name that was really driving this truck that got the ticket. And a lot of safety directors, if you have a good relationship with, they can give you the cell phone number of this driver and you can make contact with that driver. And hopefully, you know, get them in the program. And if they enroll in the program on a pre-existing ticket, they got the ticket before they got into our program, they can get a 25% discount off of the attorney fee. So there it is. Now, I'm just going to scroll down just a little bit further, and I have another roadside inspection, and you can just see all of these. This carries points here. 8 plus 1 and 1 is 10 times 3. That's 30 just on that one right there. So we're going to scroll down to the to February the 17th. Here's another roadside inspection that I want to bring to your attention. So this would be the second roadside inspection that I would feature as I would go into the safety director. And so this right here is concerning brakes, and there's an out of service. So it's got a severity of 4 plus 2 is 6. And then you add 6 plus 4 is 10. Plus these, the 2 4s is 8. That would be 18. Plus 10 would be 28. So that's 28 times 3 is 84. Now, this particular driver at this particular company would be on probation. So you add up these points times 3. So that would be 84 points. And Robert, as you see any questions coming in, anybody got questions on the points and how it's calculated? Do you see anything coming in, Robert, on that?
Let me see.
No, it's not questions.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
If you know some questions here, somebody go ahead and ask them. That'd be great.
Okay. Well, as they know, we're going to answer the questions. I'm going to scroll down to one more road sign inspection, and I'm going to go down to January the 30th. So you can see just in the last 3 months, I've picked out 3 major tickets, and I'm going down to January the 30th, which is right here. Now take a look at this one. This one here has got all kinds. It's got lights, it's got brakes, air brake, tail light, turn signal, brakes out of service, out of adjustment, and a wheel seal leaking. So, I mean, this one has got a lot of different things. So if you add up all these points here, that will come to 44 points. 6 plus 4 is 10, plus 6 is 16. You just go down through here, add these up. That's 44 points times 3. That's 132 points. This is another United Vision driver that was terminated. That's why, as you went back, and we're going to go back to the SAFER, the home page, and you'll see that this company is looking for drivers, is because they're terminating a bunch of them but on the CSA points. So I normally will pick about 6 individual violations from up above, and I'll pick 3 or 4 roadside inspections that I want to feature with a safety director. And then about right now, you know, I'm looking at the safety director and I say, would you have an idea if these tickets were adjudicated or not? Well, he's going to have a look in his eyes like a deer in the headlights because he has no clue. And then I'm going to say to him, if this program was available at your company, you could have the confidence to know that everything was being done to bring these points off of the driver's record. And as you know, sir, it would come off your company's safety stats. That's what your customers are viewing, and it's what your insurance rates are based on. And that is my script that we have posted for you folks in the Facebook. And if you know that script and you can quote that script and you have this, you have the violations and the roadside inspections, you're going to be creating a lot of great interest. That safety director will want to know more about how your program can help the driver and the company, and you're in the driver's seat. So, Robert, do we have a question concerning calculation of points?
Yeah, we got a bunch of questions, and I'm gonna let Catherine. Catherine jump in and ask the question because she can answer some and she can turn some over to you however she wants to do it, and Sherranda you as well. But it's a bunch of questions there, so
okay, let's do a few questions.
Okay, I've got Jesse. Is there a spreadsheet that has built-in formula to add up the violation and points that we can leverage as we are sitting in front of a DM or simply having a conversation by phone as in viewing the profile? You can actually download this into a Excel spreadsheet. You can also click at the top. If you go to the top and you click on, let's say, driver, put on unsafe driving, click on that unsafe driving right now, Lamar.
Okay, unsafe.
The first button, even hours of service, okay. Either one, right there.
Yep.
You click on that right there, move down, keep on going. Now you'll see one more, go down one more. you'll see say inspection history. Click on that inspection history, up a little, up, not there, there, up, one more down, right there. Nope,
Yeah.
right there, click on that. Okay, now you can actually see the total points for each one.
Yep.
It takes the times into it, so you can actually sit there and say, okay, 3 times 3 is actually 9 points, and the 5 times 3 is 15 points. Okay, so that's what you can show them. You can show them that on an individual, more of an individual basic, violation. So the next question is, can you explain out of service? You can be either put out of service for the repairs until the repairs are made on the equipment, but if the driver gets put out of service, he's sitting there for 10 hours. So if he has a false log, like Lamar was talking, he's put out of service for 10 hours. Or if he's over 70 hours, he can be put out of service for up to 34. So Jim Hicks, you asked why they're held against him. The DOT, the Federal Motor Carriers changed their stuff in 2010 because most of these, it used to be the carriers used to say, why am I being punished? Because the driver's behind the wheel and he's the one doing the things wrong. If a driver inspects his equipment, make sure that it's safe, he wouldn't be rode up all the time. So it's a driver behavior problem that they're trying to change, the Federal Motor Carriers. So it's, you know, and you can't, as an owner of a company, they can't sit in the passenger seat and say, quit speeding, quit doing this, you know, you're following too close. So the drivers get a driver profile also, and they're the ones held responsible. So that's just the way it is. And sometimes it may not seem fair, especially if it's something that the carrier didn't repair. But if the driver didn't tell the carrier and the carrier said go anyway, and the driver did go anywhere, whose fault is that? That's still the driver. He made the decision to drive a piece of equipment that was not safe. So yes, the driver has to inspect the equipment before he starts his day and at the end of his day. So if he finds something that breaks during the day, he has to inspect his equipment both times. And I can tell you this, if drivers are doing that, what Lamar's showing you with all these violations, it wouldn't be happening if they were doing their job.
Can I jump in, Kathy, right quick?
You go right ahead.
It was a question Patricia asked. I think we need to step back and just explain that this report here is a report that we normally don't take like literally into the safety meeting with us. So we don't take it in to really, we don't show this to the safety, you know, the safety manager. This is, you know, the information isn't just to hand it over to them. So Lamar, if you could explain how they would, you know what I'm saying? Because the question is, how do we go over this with the driver? You know, I think people need to understand how we actually, when we print, we don't print it out just to give to the safety manager. You know what I'm saying, Lamar?
Right.
Yeah, they need to understand the information is really for them to, how to approach them, you know, have the conversation with them in the DM meeting. Versus print this out to take in with them to just give it over. Yeah.
Well, basically the way I do it, and there's a lot of different ways. I know people that do all kinds of different ways on this. Mm-hmm. But once I put the DOT number in and I come to that first page, I just hit print, and it'll print out 3 pages. And the last page is almost blank. It's got a little header up at the top. And on that back page, I will write these 4 or 5 violations that I want to draw to his attention, which we, if you remember, we started off looking at the seatbelt. I picked that one. I picked the going 15 over the speed limit, and I think I even picked that one. So there's 3 of those that I picked right there. And then I picked some more down in the other categories. Well, I will write that on this third page. I will write those out. And then I will draw a line and I will put roadside inspection. And then I'm coming down and I'm writing this date right here, February the 21st. And I may even write the license plate number down. And then I will write these violations and the points times 3. And I will actually have that calculated out. So I will do 3 of those that way on this little piece of paper. So when I get in front of the safety director, and I'm just going to go back, and I'm going to go back to this is the home page. Now, when I pull up, put the DOT number in and pull this up, I hit print. And when I do that, it's going to print, and then you'll come to the third page. I think it grabs this. This will be the top of the third page right here. And the rest of that page will be blank. And I will write all of that out. So when I walk into a safety director and before the safety director, I'm going to let him know that I pulled up the SAFER and took a look at your DOT profile. And I may even show him, you know, I've got it there. He can see it because I'm looking right at it. And then, you know, I will go into featuring the violations and the roadside inspections. So I'm not just printing something off, take it into the safety director and say, hey, look what I found. No, I'm really selling it and showing how the LegalShield program, the CDLP program, can really assist in the violations and the roadside inspections. Now, like I was telling you earlier, this company has terminated a good many drivers. See, they have 1,263 power units, and they only have 1,196 drivers. So they're looking for about 67 drivers right now, because they got a lot of trucks sitting around that's not being driven. So they're looking for drivers. And I go into the new driver orientation class, and you know, I'm signing these people up that's coming into the class. Hopefully some of the drivers is leaving, has got my program, and they're leaving with the program, and I'm selling the new ones coming in. So, Sherranda, you want to check and see if there's another question?
Yeah, there's a couple.
Okay.
Joe, Mr. Bailey wants to know about the multiple times 2 and the driver times 3. That's actually just a time weight by months.
Yep.
Times 3 for the first 6 months, times 2 for the next 6 months, and times 1 for the last year.
Hey, Catherine.
Yeah.
I just posted the chart for that too as well.
Okay. There's a chart out there for that.
I
That's
just
great.
posted a PDF that says, it says revised company and driver. If they click that, it'll show them how the points stay with the company for the driver and for the company.
Okay.
Now, what Catherine is talking about, this right here, and this is going to be what we're looking at is the company. So this is that 3 represents the first 6 months. Now watch this as I scroll down. It's a good ways. This company gets a lot of tickets. As I scroll down, that 3 is going to turn to a 2 right there. Okay. So right there, this ticket on 8/27, that is 6 months old. This turns to a factor multiplier of 2. That tells me, as I'm looking at this, that is in the second 6 months. All of these tickets here is in the second 6 months. It is 6 months old or older, all the way up to 12 months. And then the next thing you will see, this will be changing. Look at that one. That's a bad ticket. I mean, even at 2, that's a lot of points. And so when you get down here to 1, now we're into the second year for the company. And so that will run for 12 months times 1. So you add these up, that 1, and that's 9, that's 19, 25, 27 times 1 is still 27 points. When it was in the first 6 months, that was well over 70, 80 something points there. Okay. So this was a bad ticket. And so for the next 12 months, that runs all the way through. All of these indicates that that is in the second year. Okay. So hopefully everybody understands that. Now for a driver, these numbers represents the years. 3 is the first year, 2 is the second year, and 1 is the third year, because it's going to stay on the driver for 3 years. And these numbers here, the 3 represents the company for the first 6 months. If you're making notes, write that down if you don't understand it. 3 represents the first 6 months. 2 represents the second 6 months. And then the 1 represents the second year. And then it comes off the company's record. And if that driver leaves that company and goes to another company, it still stays on that company's record. And those points for 3 years will follow that driver wherever he or she may go. So that driver still got to contend with those points. And before that driver is rehired at the second company, they'll want to see his PSP profile. That's a personal screening profile, and that's a federal document. He has to give them permission to view his profile, and they can see all of these points. And probably what we've seen here, they probably will not hire that driver. And he'll end up having to go to work, not at a big company. He's probably going to go to work for a little company that's got 10 drivers or 15 drivers, that really the safety person is the owner and the terminal manager doing it all. And they don't understand the CSA points, don't even know how to calculate it. And they don't even know that these tickets need to be adjudicated to get them removed. And so the little small companies need a lot of help, but that's what happens to a lot of our drivers. And so once companies start to connect all of these dots of it's a DOT ticket, it's points, and it goes on the driver, and it goes on the company, and it goes on my company safety stats. That's what my customers are viewing. And it establishes my insurance rates. And once they figure that out, they're saying, and I've had a lot of companies say, Mr. Reynolds, how much would you charge to come and do a presentation for our drivers? Well, for you, sir, I wouldn't charge anything. I'll come and do that presentation. So, but, I just have a lot of fun, because if you've got this at your disposal, you can do a quick, I've been sitting in my car at a red light and profile a company and take off to that company. And I've sold one company I'm thinking about. I profiled their truck sitting in a red light, went to the company about 10:30. I did about a 45 to an hour presentation for the safety director. And he says, hey, Lamar, I have a safety meeting starting at 1 o'clock. Would you stick around and do a presentation? Absolutely. And I ended up opening that same company on the same day, prospected it and opened it on the same day. So that's how powerful this is. Once you learn how to use it and how to present it, it is an awesome thing to have at your disposal. Robert, you're watching our time, and do we have any other questions, Robert, or do you want to?
Nope, I'm watching the time. We good. We take some more questions.
Okay. There's a few more questions here. Fernando, you want to know about the percentage versus maintenance charge that we get dismissed? It's a charge, as long as there is a ticket issued, they're running at about 80%. So, and that's all I can do. The difference between the two types of violations doesn't matter. If you win a case, we can get the points off, or we can reduce them to 1. So it doesn't matter. How do you show the driver the information? The driver can get their own driver profile. You have to have special permission, like Lamar said, to get that, to get the driver information. Chuck, you're saying that.
Let's stop right there for just a quick. Robert just sent over the calculation sheets, and On that one for a driver, when I'm standing in front of the driver, because they don't have a clue how all this is figured, I hold up that little sheet. It's a one-pager that shows the violation. It shows the violation of 10 times 3 equals 30. And then the second year times 2 is 20. And the third year, 10 times 1 equals 10. I show that driver this sheet and I go through it and I just say, hey, cell phone, if they catch you with a cell phone, that's 10. Okay, you're looking at how it's calculated. Or a load securement with a strap that's loose or you don't have enough straps on your load, that happens to be a 10. And that's all right there on that sheet. And once that driver understands that on a flatbed truck, I've seen flatbeds going down the road with 2 and 3 straps flopping around, and that driver can get 60 to 90 points on that one stop. And once they see that and understand it, it's powerful, and you can sell a membership. So back over to you, Catherine.
Yeah, the other one, it says that on the third violation down, failure to control traffic device, you're saying, Chuck, you're violating a speed sign, even clocked at a higher speed, that's a way of not hurting the driver so bad, and that is incorrect. Because the ones worth 5 points times 3 is 15, which is traffic control device. And that's not necessarily a stop sign. That could be a directional sign that move over into this lane because there's construction. And if it's in a construction zone, then it's a total of 10 points. So I don't teach my drivers speeding tickets, traffic control, they all hurt the driver. They become unemployable. If I'm looking at a driver profile, when I pull it for a new driver that's coming, I don't differentiate between a speeding and a traffic control device, but drivers have the mentality that one is better on my driver's license than the other. But this has nothing to do with their driving motor vehicle report. This has to do with the safety of the company and their driver profile. So yeah, I just wouldn't do that. Which states are 6?
Let me just say this real quick. On the traffic control device, I had a hazmat carrier in Columbus, Ohio, and he was in the middle lane. He was trying to get over in the right-hand lane. The traffic's so heavy he can't get over. There's a traffic control device that says no hazmat past this point. And so the driver kept going, and he's trying to get up on, I believe that's a bypass 275 there, and he kept going, went under the bridge into the city, and they gave him a ticket for improper hauling of hazmat. That fine was $5,000 and disobeying a traffic control device. And so the driver got back into Houston. The safety director had him to send me that ticket, and I enrolled him in the program. But we got both of those violations dismissed for that driver. And they would probably have fired that driver if we had not got that dismissed. But that was huge for the driver. Now, I don't know exactly how the attorney did it, but I'm pretty sure he used the fact that he did not want to go there, but the traffic forced him on through there. He should have just stopped and put his blinker on and started getting over. But that is a great, and I keep that one on my transportation clipboard, and that's an awesome reversal of those points. That driver is very happy. Hopefully he'll never leave our program. Back over to you, Catherine.
Okay, I think there's only a couple more. If you have 20 violations total, 20 is the points added up to, say, 20 times 3 is 60 points. Does that add to the 20 violations? I'm not sure. Robert downloaded the points and stuff into our files, so you can take a, I'm not understanding what your question is there. So other than that, someone asked about 2 years. However, some states, wait a minute, Kathy, do you know which states are 6 months, 2 years, etc.? Doesn't go by states. These are federal regulations. All the point system is set up by the federal government. So the states don't really have anything to do with it.
Catherine.
Yes.
I'm throwing up that I thought I was. Hold on. I did something wrong there. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I was trying to throw up the chart that you were just talking about?
Yeah, put it on throw it up on your desktop and then share your screen. That's going to be the easiest.
I will close the SAFER so you don't have
Okay.
any. Okay.
It should be, I don't know why it's showing me something different than what I'm.
If you'll scroll down, you'll see the point calculation, if that's what you're looking
Okay.
for.
Yeah,
Yes.
but for some reason it's not showing up there. I'm not sure why. Let me see.
You should be able to scroll down.
Yeah, if that's a transportation clipboard, just scroll down, Robert. It's probably
Yeah,
the sixth one down.
I don't know what I did there. Just hold on, give me 1 second. Let me see if I can do it this way. You guys see my screen right now?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see.
Over on the left-hand side is that bar that you can grab and pull down. Right beside document 1. Just grab that and pull it down.
Yeah, it's like my thing disappeared. My it looks like my box disappeared.
Okay.
Something real quick. Let me see. Let me check it here. Yeah, I can't get it to. It looks like it's not recognizing my thing. All right, if I can get it up, if I can get it up, I will. Let me stop sharing my screen though, real quick.
You're not sharing your screen. You're good.
I'm not. Okay. All right. Is there any more questions there? I'll see if I can find it while you guys are dealing with
The
it.
chat's been disabled, so
Oh,
if
really?
someone has a question, they can post it on the commercial drivers certification training page, and we'll get back to we'll answer those questions there if we can.
And I don't know why chat is disabled either, because I didn't.
I don't either.
Yeah, I didn't disable it either. Let me see. Chat.
Any other questions? I think it's good now. No, I can't post in it.
You can't.
While you guys are figuring that out, I had a phone call from a driver today. It was one. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
There we go.
There it is. That's for the company. And this right over here for the first 6 months, that's the first 6 months, times 10, times 3 is 30. And the second 6 months, 10 times 2 is 20. And then the second year. So that's for the company. And for the driver, the first year, second year, third year, same calculations, but it's by years. Yep. And so it's a powerful thing, standing in front of a group of drivers. And I don't pull out the company one. I only pull out the driver when I'm doing a group presentation. I always show that to the drivers. And, but today I got a referral, and this driver called me, had a ticket, and come to find out, I said, well, how did you get my name? Well, my safety director told me to call you. And it was from a company that I didn't have. And actually, this guy came from one of my other companies, and his boss had told him to call Lamar Reynolds on this. And so the long and the short of it is this little company's got 53 drivers. And I spoke to the safety director over the phone today, never laid eyes on him. And I think I have a very good opportunity to, I'm selling one of his drivers. I'll have the application this evening, but I hope to open this group. And while I had the safety director on the phone, guess what? I went into SAFER and pulled up his profile. And I told him about a ticket that was last month in February, and went through it. And he says, yeah, I remember that. I said, well, you have any clue how many points that was? And I did the calculation for him. He said, wow, I didn't realize that. And so I did that real quick, just on the phone with the safety director. And so you can easily sell these people over the phone It's a lot better face-to-face, but that's how powerful the SAFER is in understanding how to look at the points on roadside inspections and violations. Back over to you, Robert.
And we got some more questions because the chat is back up and running. So if we want to get to these questions, we can.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and ask you first. Oh, go ahead, Catherine.
Okay, they're clarifying. What I said was they wanted to know how far back, they had asked a question and I typed the answer, how far back you can go. You can actually go 2 years, but most states, the directive from the federal motor carriers wants you to do it within 6 months. And I've had some states that I've done a year later deny me because I didn't do it timely enough. So what states those are, it's when you run into them. You know, I mean, it's just like at Cook County, which is Chicago, Illinois. You cannot get court documents out of Cook County. You know, they do not provide the documents you need for the federal to do the data queue. So and I know this because obviously I've had that problem. And, but you know, every jurisdiction can be a little different. It's the only one I've run into like that. I mean, I've even had safety directors call the law firms after the case was dismissed to get the documents because the driver no longer works for the company. But we knew that they had fought the ticket. So, you know, there are ways to try to get that, but some, Cook County won't do it. And each state can, there's one officer in every state that does the data queue. This is how you get it off of CSA is through data queue. And, you know, you don't want to get on his bad side. I'll tell you that. I've done that. So
you may be thinking, when is the best time to do the data queue? Well, it's in the first 6 months when the points are the highest, okay? And so usually a ticket is adjudicated within 30 days, and if there's a reset, maybe in 60 days. And so you want that adjudicated, and you want that safety director to do the data queue in the first 6 months. That's when it's 30. Don't wait till the second 6 months when it's 20, or the second year when it's 10. You want to do it when it's 30. And like Catherine was saying, a lot of our drivers, you know, if they don't have the order of dismissal, they may call the attorney firm. A lot of times, you know, the attorney firm will have it, the actual attorney that adjudicated the ticket. And certainly they can call the court clerk, the number that's on the ticket, and the court clerk, I've had a good many of those email or fax that to the company or to the driver. So that's a couple of ways, but you know, we just gotta have that order of dismissal back in the hands of that safety director to do that paperwork. That's what this is all about. Back over to you, Catherine.
Go ahead, Sherranda.
No, I was just gonna say he had a question about the safety directors. Question was, are safety directors able to get some tickets adjudicated? I had one that was very hands-on, and she said she takes care of a lot, then does data queue challenge. So that was a question from Renee McKnight.
So basically what Renee is saying is that she's running into some companies where the safety manager is saying, hey, I've got somebody fighting the tickets, or I'm fighting the tickets, whatever she's doing, and then
right.
the safety manager is then going to data queue and challenging it afterwards. So when you run into that in the field, how do you guys respond to that? Or how what would you guys say how to deal with that? Whoever wants to answer it, Catherine, Sherranda, or Lamar.
Well, first you have to go to court first. Once you go to court, then they have to do a data queue. If a lot of times, if it's a smaller company, the safety director may not even know what you're talking about. So they may need some help. The data queue is what takes it off the CSA scores, which takes it away from the insurance company's eyes, and it takes it away from the DOT's eyes. Okay, so, but the court case has to happen first, and you have to have the documentation to do the data queue. I do data queues for a lot of companies. I offer it to my LegalShield associates. I can do it for their companies for $25 for each one of them. I do that for several my friends that that are doing the CDL program. But you know, I've also taught safety directors how to do that. You know, I can do that over the phone. I can walk them through it if they want to learn how to do it, so they can pay me once and I'll teach them how to do it. It's not that hard to do with a ticket. It's harder to do if you're trying to challenge whether the officer was right or wrong. And that is strictly something that that the attorneys would do for the 25% discount, or the safety director would do. That's all, but there is a difference. I've also run into companies that didn't know they had to do the data queue, but the drivers had the CDL plan. So you have to be sure to let the safety manager know that afterwards it just doesn't automatically come off data queue. It must be challenged. I mean, it's CSA, sorry. Yeah. Question?
So
Yeah.
let's throw another question out there that I'm seeing here. Anthony Norris said, is there a minimum amount of points before they are counted against the driver or company CSA score?
Yeah, 0.
I love it.
That's it. 1 point counts. There's no minimum, it's 0. You need to get a clean inspection. You know, it's, yeah, it all goes against it. Sorry, but that's the answer. 0 is it. You know, the clean ones help. You know, when I'm trying to get a client's numbers down quick, I promote to the drivers, we need to have good, clean inspections. That'll bring numbers down so fast, and that really helps. Right now, insurance companies are going to be going up like 25% this year. So it's really, really important that these companies keep their SAFER scores low, because the underwriters use that to up their cost. I have one company I ran into, 4 trucks, $120,000 a year in insurance. That's a lot of money when it should be somewhere around maybe 25,000 a year, not 125. So that's how important some of this stuff is having them have our program so that they can fight these tickets. Because I can tell you this, there are a lot of tickets the drivers didn't do anything.
Right.
You know, there are tickets that the drivers were guilty. I've had drivers pay a ticket. I said, why didn't you call LegalShield? Well, I did it. I go, that don't matter. You only did it when it, you know. So you have to encourage them to call everyone, all of them in. So
another question real quick. Lori Wu said, well, she's not a question. Lori Wu said, can you make sure people know that there's a difference between the driver using our plan to get assistance with their tickets versus the company then fighting it off with data queue to get it off the company and off their record?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. The driver has to fight the ticket in court, or the attorney fights the ticket, and then you get the paperwork from the court, and then the data queue has to be done to get it off the company and off the driver's record. It comes off both of them when it comes off one. And the data queue is a pretty simple process, but it's still a process that has to be done. They're totally 2 different things, court and data queue, which is the challenge on the CSA scores.
Sherranda, you gonna say something too?
No, that's what I was gonna say. She had just went over that.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
that's it.
Kathy stated that she trained some safety directors to use data queue. How can we have access to data queue? We're not gonna give you that. You don't need it. That's the answer to that question.
Right.
Data queue is not what we do. She does that because she's a safety manager, and that's, I'm assuming that's Bob Frazier.
Yeah, and
Bob,
yeah.
Go ahead.
If you lie to the Department of Transportation through data queue, it's a $10,000 fine.
Yeah, we don't want that to happen to y'all. So let's take Bob. If Bob tried to do data queue with the company to help them, they were a smaller company. He just was doing what he thought was in the best interest of his account, and something goes wrong, they're gonna fine that company $10,000. Not Bob Frazier, not the LegalShield associate, but the company. And that's a great way to lose an account is to get them a $10,000 fine. Trying to do data queue for them. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Any more questions? Did y'all see something that I missed?
I don't think so.
Think we got them all the questions?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Oh, look at that. One new message. Thank you for all the information. Okay, appreciate that. Appreciate that, guys. So it is live on Facebook. We did put some scripts in there. I mean, some things in there in this chat, and most of the stuff we put in the chat is already on the Facebook page. Is already in files. I am going to download this entire chat. So when I will email you guys tomorrow, so you'll have a copy of this entire chat from the whole hour and a half webinar as well. And you guys have the files, and you also have the files that Catherine put up here. I will send those in an email with the chat as well. And everybody that's on the email blast, you will get a recording of this webinar in the email, but it'll also be posted on Facebook. But if you get emails from us, you will get the recording in an email. And remember, it will disappear in 7 days, like 007. So if you don't do it, don't email me telling me you forgot, because I'm just going to ignore your email. I'm not going to email you back nothing nasty. I'm just going to ignore you. Because if you can't download this in 7 days, then it's not important to you. So that's the deal, guys. And y'all home. Y'all can't go nowhere. Oh, y'all ain't supposed to be going nowhere. I know y'all going.
Hey, we're in lockdown at midnight tomorrow night.
That includes me, because I keep going places too. I ain't supposed to be going away. I keep leaving every morning. So that's the deal. So we appreciate you guys for working with us. Great webinar. It will be on the Facebook page as well. Like I said, we're going to put the recording up there so you guys will always be able to go back to it. We will do another one of these next year, so please don't ask us to do one before then, because we're going to do them annually, so we can update y'all with whatever information we have here. So you guys have been fantastic. Our trainers want to say anything before y'all leave? Any of the trainers?
Someone was asking about what to say to the safety manager. I will put a plug in there for the coaching calls. They are recorded. We have a list of those. You do a great job of putting those up. So a lot of the information, the how-tos and all that stuff is in the recording calls. So if you'll go back to the Facebook page and pull up those calls and start listening to those calls, you'll understand the information that, Mr. Reynolds and Kathy went over tonight. You'll understand it a little bit better. And also I put in a plug, connect with a field trainer. That would be great if you're just trying to get in this space. Connect with field trainers. That will help your business. I'm a witness. So back over to you.
All right, Lamar, Catherine, anything y'all want to say?
No, I'm just going to say thanks, everybody. I appreciate you all. Practice. We gave you the websites. Go and practice. You can't put information in there or wreck that website. So, go click on whatever you want. You can't get into any sensitive stuff or change anybody's stuff. So practice. Go look it up. Just knowing it is one thing, but when you start doing it, that makes the whole difference in your approach. That's it. Thank you.
Lamar?
And I'll just say this was a great call to here tonight. And what's left, once you understand what we just showed you, what's left is just go out and make the call. And
just do it.
Just do it. That's it. And I promise you, if you will use this information, you will have success. If you go out there and repeatedly make the calls, you will have success with this program of what you've heard here tonight. Best of luck selling the CDLP. Back over to you, Robert.
Where we're going to get a list of the exemptions. The exemptions are already on the Facebook page because we went over the exemptions as well on the coaching call on Monday. So it's already on the Facebook page. So just check the file section, and also the replay of the call will have it there as well for the Monday night call, which is there. So that's that. So appreciate you guys again. So for those that all have called me or spoke to me at a class and said, and I told you that Catherine is the person that I work with handling my company's data queue stuff when they can't do it themselves. That's Catherine. So just look up in the box. That's Catherine.
Thank you.
So that's why I have do that for me. For my company, so I don't bother with their data queue. I just put them with Catherine, and that's all I do is I tie them together and I leave it alone. Catherine it can be well trusted. You won't have any integrity issues with that. She won't try to take your account. She will work with them on the capacity of working with them on if they get audited, if they have any issues like that. She won't do anything LegalShield with them. That'll be left up to you. But she will save them some money by handling that professionally for them. So. Thank you guys again all for joining. We look forward to seeing you guys on the next webinar, and stay safe.
All right. See ya.
Bye-bye.